All right, who are we talking to?
Let's talk with David. David's been waiting for a while.
Yeah, David in California wants to talk about, let's see, if language describes reality, how do we comprehend wordless reality?
That's really clunky. If language describes reality, how do we comprehend reality wordlessly? That's more what I was trying to say.
That makes sense. And I love that question because I was just thinking about that today, actually. I was like, okay, so there are words for... real quick, David, do you have me on in the background or are you on speakerphone? I'm getting a little bit of echo.
Yeah.
No, I'm on a headset with a microphone.
Okay, we'll do our best.
Yeah. So for me, it's really interesting because words do define how we view the world, kind of like our very first caller, asking how much of our belief or lack of belief is culturally influenced. A lot of it is because based on the words that we use, that shapes how we think about things. So when we come up against something that doesn't have a word readily available for it, they can inspire all kinds of concern or even feelings of ick or frustration or fear because it doesn't naturally just like slot into our brain. So it's a really poignant and timely question, I think.
Definitely. I've found that without language for a concept, that concept wasn't really pinned down. It was very fluid and amorphous. And because of that, it was less useful. So I don't know. How do we comprehend reality wordlessly?
There's an example that I would love to talk about, and I'll link this in the description.
Sure. Before we do, though, David, I had an idea. Really quick.
Yeah.
I want you to give the idea. I have found that sometimes when I'm doing the show, if I'm too close to the microphone, the sound coming from the earbuds will go back through the mic and will create that. And it sounds like as you're moving a little closer or further away or something's going on, but the echo's going away in and out. And I think that might be that just the volume to your ears might be a little loud and might be getting picked up by the mic a bit.
There, I turned it down just a little bit. Is that better?
It is so much better. I think it's gone. Yeah. Okay. Sophie, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The one thing that I do want to point to is the history of how we create colors, right? So back during ancient Greece, right, when Homer was writing the Odyssey, they didn't have the word for blue. They did not describe anything that should be blue, like the sky or the ocean or someone's eyes, as blue. They described it as black, essentially, or shades of black. And that's how they perceived blue, as just a different shade of black, until the word blue was invented. And then everybody was like, oh, that describes that's part of the color spectrum. And then it became normal to describe things as blue. And then the same thing happens with green and with red, right, and yellow. These colors that we come up with are not creating the color spectrum, right? That spectrum exists and people perceive it regardless. But there are definitely things that we are missing because we don't have words for it, like orange, right? There is no real color orange. It's all just shades of brown, but we created this word.
Or is brown just dark orange?
Right, exactly. So like we have these conversations and they're fun, but it only helps us comprehend and kind of interpret what is actually already there, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Or maybe you're already seeing and comprehending most of the things around you, but without the language, you're not able to put a finger on it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, I figured this would be a short call.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's really, really interesting. When you're talking about language, you're talking about a tool used to describe reality. And so, there are lots of languages that aren't verbal. There are, what the point of language is to describe things. And so without any kind of language, it's not that it's invisible, right? It's not like the color orange was invisible until we came up with a word for it. Mm-hmm. We just weren't able to put a finger on it as clearly as when we finally did.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, part of this is partially like, for instance, the Inuits. They have so many words for the word snow,
Yep.
whereas we have snow, you know. But I was also kind of thinking about the small mouth noises that create language, and foreign languages, you know. But the wordless came up from, I tried to imagine anything that I couldn't use a word for, and I couldn't come up with anything. But, you know, but that's that, you know. I mean, it just seems to me that the small mouth noises that makes up reality for just about everybody is like, well, you said it.
Yeah, it's a really mind-trippy thing to think about.
It is.
And then it also makes you think about things like, if you want to take this one step forward into things like advocacy, how important it is to make sure that we are raising children who have the ability to comprehend as much as possible in terms of reading and writing and speaking, because what you can think, like exactly what you said, you cannot conceive of a thing you cannot already have a word for or name. And so the more limited your vocabulary, whether that's intentionally through indoctrination or whether that's just a lack of education resources, it really becomes an issue of that person's reality is smaller, right? That person does not get to experience as much. And so it really does become a larger conversation. But David, this was a great call.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, David. Take care.
You too. Love you guys.
Bye.
Aw, shucks. Aw, color's been so nice today. I'm happy about that. All right.